it's Catherine, and you guessed it, this is the week of Encaustic. When I first wanted to try out Encaustic, it was recommended to me by a professor that I just try Encaustic. I started watching YouTube videos to kind of find out more about Encaustic, just to see like what people were doing with it, and I was like, that is so cool, so I wanted to do it. There wasn't a whole lot of just, here, get these things and you'll be good to go with Encaustic, like videos like that. Like there was like videos that talked about how to use the paints and things like that, but they were still very brief. So I'm going to save you all the research that I did and just tell you right now things that you can get to get started with using Encaustic. I'm going to start with the basic stuff that you can get just to get started and get going, and then there's a few things that you can get too that will just kind of enhance your experience. First things first, you're going to need a heat surface, and I first started off using a pancake griddle. I was gifted a hot plate. The only thing with that was that it wasn't a even heating surface, so there would be parts of it that were hotter than other parts. You could just slide all the paint, paint all the paint down. You could slide all of the wax into that little like grease trap. Next thing is wax. I have it in rainbow order. I use both R&F brand and the Encausticos brand just because that's what is available to me. And I've also seen videos of how to actually make your own Encaustic. It's a mix of resin with beeswax and paint. You use oil paint actually. The harmful part of Encaustic is the damar resin, which is that you smell. The beeswax is fine for you. The paint, probably not that good either. Heating it up, I recommend some sort of respiration and that type of thing. Some people use respirators and ventilators. And I used to use protective eyewear, and then I couldn't really figure out what the purpose of that was. So eyewear not required. Heat gun. This was like 20 bucks from Walmart, and I feel like it does what it needs to. It would be nice if it actually had less air blowing, because I feel like if I have it all the way up on high, then it kind of just blows too much. This works great when you get started. I would like to invest in something a little bit nicer. You can see that there's all this wax right here that's like filled up. It gets on your hands. Encaustic is so messy, okay? It is like insanely messy. Gloves help, and also an apron helps, like all that stuff. I got a little bin here of all my Encaustic stuff. Brushes, is once you get wax on one of these, you're never gonna like get all the wax out. They need to be natural hair, so like boar's hair or whatever, so that they don't melt, because the synthetic ones will melt. Palette knives, which I've actually kind of used to like mix colors. Slick wax. It's a slick wax. When it heats up, oh, there's stuff on it. When it heats up, it is clear enough that you can actually put your brush in it. I just like scrape a little bit of this out with the palette knife, and then I put it in that little tin, just because I don't want to ruin all this slick wax at once. It's called soy wax. I got these jars from the dollar store, and then I just used tape to put on the outside what they were so I could remember. And I'll just mention like supports for Encaustic. Now this is actually a lot of research that I had to go into to do this. So you don't want to work on anything that's going to expand or contract depending on the weather. So paper, not the best choice for Encaustic. Canvas, it depends on like what size you use. You don't want to use anything too big, because that can definitely expand and contract. Canvas panels are great, you know, like the flat canvas panels would be perfect because that's not like changing size or shape very often. I just try to stick to wood panels. So this was just a blank birchwood panel that I got from, you know, the art store. And then I actually adjusted it myself. I just think that that saves money instead of getting like a ampersand's Encaustic board. And I can get the size that I want, because they don't make these elongated rectangles. These are now bonus. We're on to the bonus things that will help you out just to make your life a little bit easier. Just that you know that you have these options if you want to start using Encaustic. You can buy tins like this to like mix your own Encaustic, but actually just use them like whichever color. I keep all the white in here. This is like a raw umber. This is alizarin crimson. I mix them directly on the griddle palette, and these are just for like more pure pigment. Binder clips to touch the edge of the metal because it's hot, obviously. So if I want to like pour more out, because it is just like a liquid, Encaustic is either hot, liquid, or cold, solid. It's never like wet or dry. But you can just melt everything directly to your palette. A surface thermometer, the temperature that it needs to be at it's a very specific temperature around. You don't want it too hot because if it's smoking, that's really harmful to you. You won't really get the full capability of the wax when the temperature is too low. Even the hot plate has a heating element that like tells you what it thinks the temperature is at, but sometimes that's wrong, so it's just helpful to have like a little surface thermometer there. So rubber spatulas, and then this is a catalyst wedge tip, so it's also silicone. The nice thing about silicone is that the wax doesn't stick to it at all, and I mean you can use this for mixing, and then you can also use it just to like scrape stuff off the palette, kind of the heat palette kind of thing. So just like oil painting and watercolor painting and acrylic painting, just like all painting, even printmaking, we use mediums just to like thin out our pigments. They're pellets of medium so that they melt a little bit quicker, so it's not just like big rocks of medium or whatever. So the medium is basically a mixture of Damar resin and beeswax for extending your pigments, and then also is really good for like covering your creation at the end, sort of like you would a varnish. X-Acto blades, so these are like razor blades, and these are good if you want to make lines in your in the paint, or if you want to like scrape stuff off, or you can shave stuff off, or whatever one you want to do. And what I do with the wax, I recently started doing this, saving the little wax bits, because you can melt this all down. This is all viable wax. You can do some sort of abstract thing with this, or just mix it, melt it down into like a toric gray. Here's my encaustic gesso, and the reason that this is different than regular gesso is that it actually is good for higher heats. Does that make sense? Higher heats? Is that something that people say? Higher temperatures? It's better for higher temperatures. Tape all the way around just so that the gesso wouldn't like get on the board and look ugly. And then what I'm going to do is take the tape off. It's like a slight amount of tape all the way around the edge. That will keep the encaustic inside. It's like a little cradle that you're making. It's crazy how much stuff for encaustic I actually got from Home Depot. So great for like making textures and stuff. You can use cheesecloth. What is this stuff called? Sandpaper. For making textures, graphite powder or like pastel powder, just like different things like that you can incorporate. You can collage. It's a preservative, like the beeswax is a preservative, so if you want, like, you can put little like pictures and like different things like that underneath the wax. Tracing paper, because the tracing paper disappears completely when you put wax on it, and all you'll see is just the marks and stuff. But there's a special way you have to do that, and there's like a whole process. I'm probably not going to go into that too much on Saturday, but that is just something that you can keep in mind if you want to do like collaging, like photographs, or you can actually like alter photographs. And that's it. That's all I got for you. That's all the supplies you need to get started with your encaustic painting. To learn more about encaustic, tune in for Saturday's video where I'm going to talk about the uses for encaustic and like what the history of it and what it is and all that stuff. But essentially it's wax paint. So I'll see you guys on Saturday. Thank you so much for watching. Take it easy.